you won't have that recorded. All right, so you guys, what we're on the agenda today is just to take a look. I made a few changes to the class, and I did send out a message. Hopefully you received that. You were set up to receive all of the announcements. Okay, hold on, I gotta move this. I'm doing all this redecorating here to get to you guys. Get out of that. We wanna go here, we wanna go here. Yes, okay, fabulous. So I sent out an announcement to let you know, no, I don't want to go there, that I made a few changes. So one of the first changes I need you guys to plug into is that if you ever want to go back and review any of the class discussions, I'm posting them here in the syllabus on the syllabus tab, okay? Not the big university one, but the simple one. So when you look at the date and time, like I don't have this recording yet. I haven't found it in my mailbox because like I said, my Cal State mailbox is a black hole. If I fall in, you know where to find me, okay? Just send me a lifeline. But I've got Thursday's discussion of last week posted already. I included the code. They don't keep them there forever, just a heads up. So, you know, give me a forewarning. Some of them I'm transferring to YouTube. It's just YouTube takes time. Let's see, did it finish loading? Yeah, it takes time. There's 126, great. For me to load stuff. So once it gets loaded, then I can transfer those over also. But you have that opportunity to go back if you like heard something and you're like, oh my gosh, what did she say? What was it? You always have that ability to go back and review it. If you don't attend the group session, then you have that opportunity. All right. So those will always be posted. Tuesdays that already happened, posted. So I'll be posting Thursday next. Second thing is someone had raised the question about what if I get scheduled during the session and I can't show up? There is no penalty. You know, I encourage you to show up because it's much more interactive. You can connect with each other. It's a more dynamic conversation to be able to ask questions at the time and participate. But if you cannot attend the session, I get it. I still want you to have the opportunity to receive participation credit. And so what that means is weekly Zoom discussion reflections. You all have to submit these if you want the points, all right? No matter what. What you want to do is, if you are not coming to class, listen to the recorded session and then address these questions that we're talking about. What does the topic mean to you? And you guys would do this at the end of today also. Do you feel confident regarding this topic? For example, when we talk about the nutrition, or does it hold a strong area of potential for you to build new habits? Like you're like, I've never heard of a carbohydrate group. I don't know what that is. Okay, got it. Yeah, you know what? So you might not feel super confident, and that's an area to grow. And so you want to address these things. Did you discover new ideas of how to activate new habits for this topic? For example, maybe you started exploring the resources I provided and founded some really easy websites to help you build menus and to start creating balance in your diet and help you build the grocery list. Then that might be an example of something that helped you develop new habits, building balanced meals. And do you feel resistance towards the topic? And if so, what is the resistance you are experiencing? I will tell you, I get resistance from people all the time. Sometimes it has to do with nutrition, sometimes exercise. It's amusing. Sometimes I have people say, oh, I have no stress in my life. I'm stress-free. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Good on you. But I will tell you, all human beings are really good at telling a story. And sometimes we're so good at telling a story to others that we're good at telling that story to ourselves also. It was interesting. I had a student who reached out to me and he said, you know, a prior student, he said, I got in this debate with a friend about diet sodas and how they're not a fluid source for the human body, meaning replacement for water. And it's like, yeah, we talked about that in class. And he's like, but he keeps demanding Diet Coke is a water source for the body. And I'm like, no. So we talked through what it was. But the bottom line is, when he goes back to his friend, he cannot tell him what to do. All he can do is share the information, and that friend is going to decide what is important to him, what's relevant to him. So you are very aware oftentimes of when a person's creating barriers and walls. And be present to this when you share information with family and friends. And some people are just not there with us on the conversation because maybe they're not ready for it. Maybe they just are afraid of it. That's a possibility too. But our job is to stand for who we are for ourselves, because if we optimize our own health, we become leaders in our communities, whether it be our family community, our church community, whatever that looks like for you. We become leaders and we show by example. And we dispense knowledge and people either accept it or they pass it off to someone else. They have no interest. So things to think about. So what is the crux of this conversation? When we are open to information, we create the possibility for ourselves to enrich and expand our lives. When we share information like tutoring with others, we get that information in even better, but we also find where our holes are in our knowledge. When we share with others, if they choose to adopt that information, we create a support system, a network, where then we're working with each other. So think about Spencer and his MG, okay? Spencer's rebuilding his car. He's working on it. Now, if Spencer spent all of his social time never telling anyone about the car, no one would ever know what's going on. But now, unbeknownst to Spencer, or if you listened, you would have picked up on it, my husband has spent decades rebuilding cars and is a phenomenal resource, which means Spencer, by speaking into existence the fact that he is really passionate about rebuilding cars, has now put this information out there and has listening for other people who are into building cars. And those people hear him, and that creates a network. Spencer now knows there's someone out there who has a lot of skill. And if he has questions, he could be like, you were talking about that guy who I think's your husband. And that creates support for Spencer, okay? Same goes for Daniel. Daniel's coming up with really great ideas for exercise. Daniel's activating them, not trying, Daniel's doing it, right, Daniel? Taking action. And as Daniel does this, and Daniel talks about this, he creates a network with other people who then propose ideas to him about what they're doing, which means Daniel kind of tries on those different ideas like a coat to determine what might be even better and work for him. And in turn, he shares with them and they have the ability to adopt things. Network, folks, is not just the internet, and it's not just jobs. It's everything in life. And all of that creates greater possibility for ourselves to be optimized, to increase our performance and our abilities in life. All right. Okay. So that being said, what else did I want to show you guys? Modules. I also gave you a huge heads up that I think I've completely, I hope to God, finished cleaning up module 2. I didn't realize I had the journal listed in there twice as 2 different assignments. So I corrected that and merged the information into one. I created the template. God only knows if it's got mistakes in it because I was doing it at ungodly hours. So this is the first time I've looked at it, but I realized I stayed up all night long because I was committed to making sure I got that link in before you guys started the day yesterday. And then went yesterday afternoon and looked at it. I'm like, great, I linked it to this one, but I have a duplicate. And it was, yeah, okay. Welcome to my world. So the construct of your journal is by week, and there's repetition. Why is there repetition? There are the same questions over and over again, week after week. What do you guys think? Why is there repetition? Give it a shot.
So we can compare each day.
Okay, got it. So one opportunity is comparison. Yep, we have comparison within the days of the week. We have comparison of week to week. What else is the payoff of the repetition of this information?
Like when you compare, you'll get to see progress.
Oops,
Sorry.
okay, Daniel, sorry. So that you're able to identify your progress. Okay, excellent. And who else was speaking, please?
I was gonna
Well,
say
I was saying,
a routine. Oh, sorry.
Okay, who wants to go first? Raise a hand, do something. You want me to, okay, go for it.
So you create like a pattern and like a routine and it becomes a habit.
Okay, Jose, what were you gonna say, please?
I was gonna say the same thing about routine.
Yeah, you guys, you actually hit all of the truth of the matter is you're all totally correct. Okay, that's why I said I really want you guys to participate, because you have to understand everything you say. You're speaking from your experience and your observations are excellent, and it is all going to apply. It's just the key is we want to keep filling in the picture and making it larger. So rule number one, absolutely. This creates an opportunity for us to have a comparison from day to day, and then a comparison from week to week. And the repetition of touching these things over and over again, repetition is how we build habits, and we're focusing on positive habits. All right. What also creates the access to is our awareness, our mindfulness of these activities, these events, and these behaviors. And when we're mindful, we are actually taking ownership of what we're doing, and it generates a sense of accountability. Ownership and accountability create the opportunity for us to acknowledge and reward ourselves for what we're accomplishing. Because oftentimes when we do things, we don't pay attention, we don't acknowledge what we're experiencing, which means we just kind of blindly go through it and repeat it without really knowing what it means for us, or what difference it makes for us in our lives, or how powerful it is. So being mindful, being present is going to be one of your most powerful tools. Everything in this class is about building more tools for your tool chest in life. The more tools you have, the more skills you have, the more you can apply these in your personal life, your family life, your social life, in your career, your health long term. You can take the concept of the tools and the habit building and apply them to anything you do. If you wanted to be a litigator, anyone here want to go into law? All right. If you want to be a litigator and go into the courtroom, you've got to have the research, you've got to build the information, and you've got to build it like a story in your head, preparing. And this isn't going to come by the seat of your pants and be able to throw it out there. You have to start building, knitting together the information so that you can create this vision in the courtroom to really honestly, to sway the jury to see the vision you have as to why you want to either prosecute this person or prove their innocence. So whatever that skill is that you need in another arena of your life now and in the future, these fundamental skills will become translatable. That's why when you go back and read books about successful habits of successful people, it's the simple repetition, building the foundation. And from that foundation, you build up, up, and out. Is that cool? Okay, I'm amazed by it. You guys may not be, but you'll get there. It's all right. All right, so questions are very simple. I had a meal plan for the day and followed it. You know what? That's really simple. It's a yes or no. Either you created a meal plan and you executed it, or you did not. This is black and white, folks. There is no shades of gray. Well, yeah, I kind of sort of did because I ate part of the meal. No. If you created the meal, you created it to eat it. All right. So if you want to justify yourself and say, I had a meal plan, I didn't bother to eat, got it. Maybe it's because you had a meal plan, you took your meal to lunch, and then they never gave you time off for lunch. All right, then I got it. Then you want to acknowledge that, yes, I did do the parts. It's the job that got in the way. Of course, me being the advocate of nutrition, my response is going to be to your work. The mama in me is going to want to go call the place and yell at them. All right. My breakfast consisted of at least 4 food groups from my plate. If you want to really delve into detail, you could even list what those food groups are to look for the patterns. All right. That's up to you. I'm creating a foundation for the template, but how far you decide to take it is up to you. All right. If you feel that there's other information in here that you want to add to your template, go for it. But my request is, if you'd be willing, whether it's after you submit it or before, I'm curious to know what the foundation is, the interest, because it might be something I'll learn from you that I didn't take into consideration. Okay. I would love to look at everything from all perspectives all the time, but I can't always do that. All right. One of the things I like to do is to give you an opportunity to evaluate at the end of each week what your impression is, what your of what it was that you were doing. So like, for example, the first one, my meal plans helped me stay on track with balanced meals this week. 1 is you didn't follow your meal plan, so it's a moot point. And 10 is you were a rock star meal planner and you ate well. You fulfilled your commitment. So that one is a little bit of a self-evaluation, identifying where your commitment is. The other one, how do you rate your mindful eating this week? Now, you would obviously have had to go through the modules and read the section on mindfulness to understand exactly what that means. So if you skip pieces, it's going to come up really weird in your assignments. But 1 is minimal awareness and 10 is very present. And 3, how do you rate your intuitive eating of meals this week? 1 is, now we have the intuitive scale, which is when you're eating, but now we're reflecting on your practice of intuitive eating. 1 is minimal listening to your body, meaning you just ate when you saw food and that's it. Or 10 is very connected, that you listened to yourself, that you started feeling hunger or you started feeling like you were satiated, and you followed the traditional scale and you did not overeat and you did not wait until you were starving. All right. Wow, this is a bummer. My boxes are really jacked up here. I'm going to have to reload that with cleanup on that. Okay. Well, if you get to it before me, you can adjust it yourself by adding a cell. I don't know what happened. That's fascinating. So what you do is you've got 12 questions around nutrition. That's a lot of questions. And the reason I'm applying 13, sorry, a lot of questions is because nutrition is the foundation of your quality exercise, your quality sleep, your stress management, your mental and emotional health. All right. I think I actually changed that to mental health. So that is the foundation. Now, when you get to week 2, we are now adding physical activity because that coincides with your activity. By the way, you guys, you were supposed to start this on Wednesday, but if you didn't get the message, either retrospective, do what you can to recover, or start effective today, backtrack today. All right, so now we've increased from 13, we've added all the way through 23. I added 10 more. And that's because there's a lot of different aspects to physical activity that we need to look at. Different types of exercise affect human health differently. So I'm targeting these different aspects. All right. So you've got 23 questions. Again, now we've added another evaluation. My frequency of days, that means 1 day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we only have 7 days in a week, sorry. And variety of effort, variety of different types of exercise. To be physically active this week was 1 is infrequent effort and time commitment, and 10 is you met your goals, right? Self-evaluate. Week 3, we're adding the component of sleep. So now you've got your 1 through 13 nutrition, right? Repetition. We've got 14 through 22 on exercise. Sleep is pretty darn straightforward. I mean, we could delve into it further, but I just want the fundamentals. We've got 23 through 26. So to see this, we're getting that repetition. And now I've added another evaluation, my commitment to sleep. So each week you're going to keep recording and evaluating. Keep it simple, keep it quick, stay on top of it, please. Maybe you build it in, I mean, do it same day, okay? Because like I said, human beings, not intentionally, but we're really good liars to ourselves. It's just the truth, all right? I never really got it until being a dietitian, and I'm telling you, it is a riot. When I interview people on food, they tell me this really great story, and then I'll distract them and talk about something else, and I'll come back and I'll ask them the exact same questions, but I'll position them a little differently. And I will get a whole different story about their diet. And then we'll talk more and talk about something else. And I'll do a third pass and come around and ask them questions again, slightly different. And I get a different story every time. And it's not that nutritionally it matches up. None of it matches up. It'll go from things like, oh yeah, I eat fish all the time. I don't know, I probably had fish 3 or 4 times this week. And then the second round, it might be, yeah, I really like fish. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think, I think I had salmon last night, and, I had what was it? Did I have a can of tuna on Monday? Yeah. And then the third time round, I really like fish. I don't think I've had fish lately. I'm dead serious. It's a bizarre experience, but it's because we really do, we're influenced by seeing other people eat. We're influenced by the food we have. We're influenced by grocery stores, by television. And we start to build a story in our heads of what we did. And oftentimes, none of that really existed. All right. Week 4, because we're on the tenets of health, we add stress management. So now again, we're going through the 1 through 13, through the 22, through the, I don't know what it was, through the 26 or something. And now we've added things like I scanned my body for signs of stress. Scanning means things like, are you having stomach pains when you start worrying about things? Are you having headaches? Are your eyes dilating? There's different possibilities. Are you hyperventilating when you get upset? Is your blood pressure elevating? Do you feel like you're having heart palpitations? We're only looking for physiologic signs. Now, there's a possibility that you could sit there and you could be like, there's no change for me. I don't feel stress. Okay. Every week, I want you to scan your body and check in. And if you go through 10 weeks and you've never experienced it, then got it. But again, we are creatures of habit, and we are also, unbeknownst to us, highly adaptable, which means oftentimes we experience things and we come to accept them. It's kind of like, if you guys, any of you ever had a family member who had like a broken toe or a blister on their foot or something that was a problem, and they're walking and they're in pain? And over time, they just come to accept it, and they kind of walk funny because it's just the way the world is. And then one day you're like, wow, you really should get that looked at. And they're like, what are you talking about? Well, your foot, I noticed you kind of limp. And they're like, what? No, it's fine, whatever. And they just keep going on. They forget what life looks like if they were not in pain. It's crazy. I get this a lot at Kaiser. So we do adapt. Okay, and then you're going to do evaluation also. I rate my stress levels this week as either 1, very low, or 2, it's not managed. And then 5, we're adding the mental, I did trim it down. Okay, so we're adding the mental health aspect. Boom, where is this? All right, for the mental health, there is a difference, folks, between mental and emotional health. Mental health does have more of a genetic component to it. But it's interesting because, I was in on class tonight and we were on the whole mental health topic, and one of our instructors came in, and I get it, he was putting emotional and mental health all into one conversation. So it's kind of a sticky thing in our understanding. Most people interpret mental health as being emotional health. They are different. So I'm not 100% sure yet how I'm going to present it to you, because the government makes it really clear they're 2 different things. Statistically, when we talk about suicide, they are actually 2 different things. I have this really great little PDF I'm posting for you guys that talks about the causes of suicide in the US. And mental health is actually the lowest quantity. Isn't that crazy? Because we've taken all these others and grouped them together as mental health. It's almost like autism spectrum disorder or something, that we've grouped everything together under one umbrella. And if I remember correctly, I think the number one cause was actually problems with relationships, people being upset by breakups. Is that crazy? Scary thought. But this changes according to the group that we're talking about. Are we talking about teenagers? Are we talking about Vietnam vets? I mean, sorry, veterans. Okay, date myself. What is it that we're looking at? All right, week 6, we're continuing on this conversation, because for a few weeks there, we get into things like weight management, and you can add to it if you want. If there are more topics, you have the ability. It's an open document, so you can add more rows. If there are things that you want to be really present to, like maybe you're going to say something like, I've been monitoring my weight and I'm really present to it. Or maybe you'll be talking about if you have medication and disease management and you've had, like a tough time managing it. Like sometimes I get friends with type 1 diabetes and they're not staying on top of their insulin, or a cystic fibrosis, or different medications that are necessary for their health and well-being, and they kind of fight the system and they don't monitor their own health and well-being. Then this would be a great opportunity to add this component. All right. And then eventually we do add, who knows where it is, mental health. We're going along through the weeks doing this. You guys have the option to document during break to continue the pattern, or if you want to take a break, no harm, no foul. We eventually will add the emotional aspect of health and care for our emotional health. And it goes down and down, and we're in April. It's getting longer, and this is boring listening to myself. Did I miss something? Nope. Okay. And that's it. I actually pulled your journal back by a week. I kept your points in there, but I pulled it back so that you're actually finishing it on the 9th rather than the last week of school, right? Or no, maybe that is right before the last week of school. When does school end? School ends on the 14th, right? Yeah, I think it does. So I actually have it wrap up the week, that Sunday, so that the very final week of class, you've already submitted it. It's done. It's off your plate. Feedback I got from students is they want less stuff going on that final week. So I'm trying to dial it back for you guys. Okay, so there you go. That is your journal, folks. You do, if you have not seen this and not gotten on top of it, you need to do so right away, please. All right, how do I minimize? Don't. Okay, and just as the reminder, you're touching this daily, you're submitting it weekly. So every week you fill in, you can either cut it down and submit only part of it, or submit the whole darn 40-some pages document, whatever you want. All right, but you have to submit it weekly. When you submit it, let's see, let's go into student view so we can see what it looks like. Each time that you submit it, you have, where's your submission button? Oh my goodness, where's your submission button, you guys? Anyone experience
There's no submission button.
I don't think we have one.
Who's the fruitcake that designed this assignment, for crying out loud? Okay, let's take a look. What have I done here? It said, oh yeah, look at that, no submission. All right, let's see, let's change that. You're submitting online, folks. It should be, please, a Word document, but if it's a little bit big, then make it a PDF, your choice, okay? And unlimited attempts, because you're going to be submitting every single week. And what happens is that when you submit it, your files are going to compound. I'm going to start to see these, it'll show me the submission date and time, and it will just keep stacking in your folder for me. So the first week you submit it, let's say you wrap up Sunday and you submit it Sunday night, or you submit it Monday the latest, okay, because things are due on Mondays. You hit submit. Now, next week, when you finish the exercise component, it won't say submit, it will say resubmit. It's not overwriting your file, it's stacking it for me. So nothing will be lost. I will see every single item, okay? For, let's see, anyone here right now who had me last semester? Okay, offhand, not sure. Doesn't look like it. It's similar to assignments I've done in the nutrition class. It'll just keep stacking, okay? No harm now, no foul. Now, other things, just so if you guys have not been on top of this, I did make a few updates in these pages, but more importantly, let's look at the nutrition. I really cleaned this up. So you've got all your meal planning. I've got all the resources here. Really powerful conversation came up in Tuesday's class about one classmate indicated that they find it kind of depressing to focus on meal planning and balanced nutrition when it's really hard to maintain such on a college income or lifestyle. And I get it, but this is kind of unfortunately one of the things is that people don't realize that in the United States that healthy, nutritious food does not have to be expensive. It really doesn't. It's just we've got to be smart about how we're managing it and what we're choosing. The more, there are less expensive ways to locate food and there's greater quality food out there. But I get it. We don't know what we don't know until we know it. And that's why you're here. So if you are a friend who is struggling with finances and finding the affordability of food, we have some resources here like the $5 dinners. What can $10 buy by Kaiser? It has some recipes and it shows you how you can make like 4 meals for 10 bucks, all quality nutritious. Budget Bites, another really great one. And then some resources, the My Plate Goals on a Budget, Iowa State University, really awesome. In this one, I've got budget friendly, this woman over in Holland, budget friendly recipes for about $2 per meal. I mean, and she's vegan. So you can't tell me vegetables aren't an option. But if you want more resources, please reach out to me. I do have also another supportive, and maybe I should have loaded it, but I don't know. I have another a lecture from the nutrition class about tools and tricks of the trade as to how to find less expensive food. And I will forward that to you so that you have access to it to review, okay? So I added some more depth to this information, nutrition labels, food safety, really important components of human health. And then this is where we get into the tools, all right, to support us. It's one thing to know about nutrition and to have it, but it's another thing to start applying the mindfulness. And the mindful eating is huge. Being present to what you're eating, when you're eating, how you're eating, and then, like intuitive eating, why you're eating. Are you eating because you're hungry? Are you eating because you're bored? What's really at play there? All right. I broke down for you guys the intuitive eating scale so that you understand the different stages of relationship with food. I actually had fun building that, just saying. And then whenever I come across some really great videos that I feel emphasize the point or add a little more information, I include those for you. I try to keep the videos really short. So whether it be 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I always try to stay under 15 minutes. And then I also like to present things where we start, we need to question. It's not a dogmatic always do this. I personally am not a big fan of food tracking, but part of that's because I'm automatically into the My Plate concept. But some people, like my Kaiser patients really feel compelled to track every single calorie. And so I thought this was really cool. This chick, Laura, she's got a doctorate in nutrition science. And I really like a lot of stuff she puts out, but she talks about how you've got to ask, do food apps really support us, or do they get in the way of our relationship with food? Really excellent. So I do want you guys to keep thinking about all this information. Okay, so that was just a tour for you guys to be present to the fact that information has been updated and improved. And I will forever, whenever I touch something, I'll give you a heads up. But I'm building this as I go, which means your physical activity section, which is up next, is not there. If you are really into exercise and you have some ideas that you really think would be great to share with the others and build into it, then let me know. Because like I said, oh, you can't see it right now. Oh, drats, I'm getting out. It's okay. I'm going back to my mode as soon as I can. Or not. I keep asking to leave student mode and it wants me to stay there. I'm building it. That's what I'll be doing this weekend. So if you have something that you feel really strong about and you want included, share it with me. You guys, your resources also, please don't think you're not. You guys have a lot of value and a lot of experience, and I really appreciate things that you share with me. So don't be shy, okay? Okay, so we are on the topic of nutrition today. And I want to find, oh gosh, the My Plate. Where in the heck is it?
Professor, I just had a quick question.
Good, great.
For the weekly Zoom reflection, is that due at the end of the week or a specific time that you need it?
All right, let's take a quick look. So don't mind me, but whenever you guys ask questions, if I know that, well, that's not going to do me any good. That's your physical activity page that I'm building. Okay. Whenever you guys have a question, just bear with me. I always like to go straight to the source so that we can see it together, because that's partially how I identify if there's something wrong or missing. Okay, so we've got the weekly Zoom sections in the assignment folder. And what you're doing is post the reflection after Tuesdays or Thursdays. You're going to do your reflection comments, and then ooh, see, look at that. I did not specify it. Let's look and see if it's in the syllabus. Yeah, because it's cumulative. So it says the date due on it is actually the end of the semester in May. Because it does no good. Okay, journal entry. So your journal entry is due on Mondays like all of your other assignments. Okay, because I'm trying to keep that pattern rhythmic for you guys so that it's predictable. So Mondays are your day. Yay.
I have a question too. Are we submitting a discussion for the same questions for last week? Or does it start this week?
This week.
Okay.
This week, yeah. Yeah, last week was open-ended. So today is February 4th. I forgot someone's birthday again. Dang it. Okay, today's February 4th. So your first journal entry number 1 is for the week 1 topic, the first tenet of health. So it would be due on Monday. So what are you reflecting? Well, based off of the information that you read and that we talk about, you're going to answer those questions and you're going to submit that as your response. Whether you do it as question 1, 2, 3, 4, that's up to you. Or if you want to make it a brief paragraph and summarize the topics all together in one, I'm fine with that. Both are good, but just please make it thoughtful. Please, I can't begin to tell you, it's so depressing when someone gives me babble. Because you guys, I don't know about you, but babble comes across as babble, just talking. It has no value to it. So a reflection means that you really want to put some thought into what your response is. Take a moment, reflect on it. Otherwise, how are you going to connect with your optimal health if you're completely going through the motions, checked out? Well, sorry, I'm self-amused by that concept. I think that's funny. All right, what other questions do you guys have, my friends?
I have one. So for the weekly journal, are we going to submit it under the module 2 every week, or is it going to move down? per module?
Oh, good question. It's in, excuse me. I personally feel that it's easier to access in the assignments, but I know some people like to do one-stop shopping, so I can add it to the assignments, I mean, into the modules. So Elizabeth, my question for you, since you're posing this, it sounds like you're a person who likes the one-stop shopping all in the modules in progression. Okay, got it. So my question for you is, would you want it attached, like, let's see, here's nutrition, and then add it at the bottom of nutrition with your other assignment? I can do that. It allows me to drop it in. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, got it. So let's do assignment. We've got weekly Zoom reflection. Oh, we have both. We have the weekly Zoom reflections. Okay, fabulous. We've got to add that one. And then the other one you said was the journal entry. Behavioral journal. Okay, got it. Fabulous. And those are going to be, this is going to be, and what I'll do is I'll just keep loading it over and over again so that it'll show up inside of every single section. Didn't I add?
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, I had it at the very top. Interesting. But I see what you're saying. That'd make more sense to be under each section. Okay, got it. I'll build those in. Let's get it up there right now for weekly, because that's a quick hit. We'll put it on top of your journal. Okay, there you go. So structural question, you guys. Do you want your assignments indented one more time so they don't get lost with the information? Okay, got it. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Because I totally get a lot of it is eye tracking and how we look at information. Okay, so structurally, how does that look, you guys? Does that make sense for you? We start, the tenets is the overall, huh?
It looks good. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that's helpful. Okay. This is an example, folks, of why I'm saying, I'm a very fluid person. And if you have recommendations and I am totally comfortable with inserting them in the middle of the semester, I absolutely will. But if it's something where it's kind of like, oh, that's really good, I got to think on it, may not be appropriate this semester, but I like that idea and I've got to kind of figure out how it fits into the big picture, then it might be something that I hear, I embrace, but I don't apply right away. That's why everything you guys share, I do consider valuable. I appreciate and respect feedback, because just because I don't take it right now doesn't mean I'm not valuing it. Okay. So keep it coming, because the only way I can get better is when you share. All right.
Professor, I had another question.
Good.
This is on the homework that is due next Monday. The snack and the breakfast template. I just wanted to see as to the part 2 where it says, what are the measure steps to assure one, the creation, 2, the consumption of your snacks, and then it's like a grid and has steps, time needed, deadline. Can you just give me an example as to like how we're supposed to fill that in?
Yeah, this is actually, Cherry, I'm glad you're asking, because a lot of people have been asking this. So obviously it's what I presented to you is not intuitive to me, but not for you guys. So that's totally, I get it. 2 things. Number 1, what I constructed for you, and you can make it out of something else. I just stole this from my private consulting, is you decide, first of all, what your snack looks like. Use the information that we can go over in the module as to how to build a quality snack. See, grabbing an apple and running, an apple is a snack. It's a whole food. It's absolutely wonderful. An apple has fiber, which helps with satiety to keep me fuller longer. But an apple is a carbohydrate, and we do digest carbohydrates more quickly than when we have protein in our diet. So to create a really balanced snack, I always encourage people to include something with protein or a high-fat protein. Anyone know what a high-fat protein would be? An example of a food?
Avocado.
Excellent. except we have one catch to that. Avocado is a high fat, but it actually does not have hardly any protein in it. But the avocado would be a high fat carbohydrate.
Would an almond be considered?
Yes, excellent. So going back, the avocado, folks, is actually a high fat carbohydrate, which is not common in life and incredibly special. And the reason we call it a high fat carbohydrate, it won't give us carbohydrate for energy. It's the complex carbohydrate, the fiber in it, which is what's magical about avocado. An almond, on the other hand, is a high fat protein because it's a source of protein, essential amino acids, and healthy fats. So the almond or almond butter would actually constitute as a high fat protein, quality fat, and an incomplete protein, but still reasonable protein. So my apple with almonds would be a high quality snack because I've got the fiber, the energy, but then for the almonds, I've got protein and I've got fat, both of which are slow to digest that keep me fuller longer. We want to have nutrition for snacks, but we also want some satiety from those snacks so that they keep us fuller and longer in between our meals, so that our blood sugar has more consistency, so that by the time we get to our meal, we're not like, I haven't eaten since breakfast and I'm eating everything, Cookie Monster style. Instead, what we want to be is like, oh yeah, I had my snack. It's game time for dinner. All right, yeah, I got to make dinner. I'm going to eat it. Life is good. And we eat it and we enjoy it. That's part of the calorie control, part of the blood sugar control. So you guys are building snacks. You decide what's appropriate to you, but I will give you the short hit on this. I always encourage people to focus on something living. What would that be? Something living.
Like chicken?
Oh, good Lord, do not eat a lot of chicken.
Like a
Vegetables?
probiotic?
I've got visions. If any of you have ever read the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi, he said the reason he stopped eating meat is because he ate goat one night, and then in the night he had dreams that the goat was inside of his belly going, trying to get out. The guy was awesome. Don't eat the chicken live. Living. Okay, what else do you guys think it is?
Vegetables, are you talking about?
Yeah, fruits and vegetables, folks, they're actually living. They do have enzymes in them, part of the digestive process for human health. They have phytonutrients, plant nutrients, really powerful, those antioxidants for human health. So I always encourage something living, because the further we get into the study of our DNA, the more we're starting to realize that if you want to thrive as a human being, to not just live, not survive, but thrive, you really need the living foods, which is the fruits, the vegetables. And then part of that equation will be the whole grains. All right. But the fruits and the vegetables are really the most powerful. And of those, which do you think of the two is the most dense in nutrition? It's like the lottery. Take your chances. Go for it.
Vegetables?
Yeah. Your vegetables. Part of that is because the low calories. Secondly, because they're actually much more diverse in the amount of different vitamins in them. They both have minerals, but vegetables actually even have an even greater variety. So you've got the vitamins, the minerals, the fiber, the water, and you've got the phytonutrients, the antioxidants. So something living with something that takes longer to digest. Now, of course, there's going to be some days where I'm like, you know what? My snack is peanut butter and crackers. Okay, well then what have you got? High fat protein, and you've got a grain. All right. Sometimes it might be that it's the, it might be a Greek yogurt with fruit. Greek yogurt's a high protein, or maybe it's a regular yogurt with fruit, or a regular yogurt with almonds. But just think about the fact that if you choose something with protein and or a healthy fat included, that will increase your satiety to keep you fuller longer. Okay. So you're looking to build 5 sample snacks. Folks, this becomes like your repertoire, your ingredients list, ideas to draw from. If you're like going through and building these snacks and you're like, oh my God, this is really cool. Oh, I like the idea of your snack, then add another row, okay? If you come up with 15 snacks that you think are rocking this world, submit them, all right? Am I gonna give you extra credit for them? No, but what I'll give you is feedback. And I'll be like, yeah, I like the idea. I get what you're saying about rice cakes, but the reality is the rice cakes really are puffed rice with very little nutritional value. So you're really not getting much other than filler. So it's not exactly the best choice for a nutrient dense snack. But if you've got 5 snacks in there for me that are wonderful, then I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you understand. Okay. So I don't deduct points for extra. I like it when you guys think. All right, when are your snacks appropriate to eat? You've got to decide according to your life what makes sense, all right? If you're at work and they do not allow you to have snacks in between your meals, then obviously there's not a lot you could do about it. Or you could be like me, carry it around your pocket when no one's looking, sneak it in, go to the bathroom, lock the door, eat it, whatever it takes. I'm a dietitian, come on. I'm going to say, eat your food. I don't care what others think, eat your food. Library, no one needs to know you're eating, just, you know, I'm the queen, I've done it all. But you've got to figure out looking at your life. Have you even ever thought about including snacks as a part of your daily schedule? You know, that's important to really review what your habits are and what's been working for you and what doesn't. Woo. Now, getting more into, I believe, Cherry, what you were asking. She's like, oh my God, finally. All right, steps. What does this mean? Now, first of all, what are your measurable steps to ensure that 1, you create the snacks, and 2, that they are available for your consumption? Well, steps are, what are the action plans that you need to put into place to execute it? It's one thing for you to say, oh yeah, I'm going to have carrots and hummus for a snack because I'm really awesome. Okay, great. So are you telling me that right now you're going to turn around and walk to your refrigerator and you're going to pull out a container of pre-cut carrots and you're going to pull out portioned hummus ready to go? Is that what you're telling me? Because that means you've already done the action steps to get there. Or are you going to say, yeah, I'm going to do this carrots and hummus, and there are no carrots in your fridge? Then you sure as better heck include one of your action steps as being go to the grocery store and buy carrots. That, Cherry, is an action item, right? So get complete. Do you need to cut up the carrots into sticks so that they're ready to go? Do you need to go to the grocery store? Do you need to make a grocery list? Do you need to scrub the carrots, cut up the apple, whatever it is? Do you need to bake whatever you're doing? Do you need to toast your bread for your snack? Secondly, what you've got, oh God, I should never take my glasses off because I'm blinder than a bat. Okay, secondly, how much time, I had to correct this, by the way, Cherry, this line item in case it's different from what you saw because of the questions people asked. The time needed to prepare. If you're saying I'm going to have an apple and cheese and I buy the cheese pre-packed, so all I have to do is grab it out of the fridge, and my apple, all I have to do is rinse it, then the time to prepare my apple and my cheese, open the fridge door, pull them out, rinse my apple, boom, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. But if we're talking, you know, something that's a little more effort, like I want to cut up my carrots, I want to dish up my hummus into a little container and take it to work, then maybe you need 5 minutes. The reason we do this is I need you guys to get real on the fact that preparing snacks for work, for school, for tomorrow is really not that much of an effort. But for some reason, we seem to look at it as like this gargantuan event, which is why we just can't prepare our snacks. So this is the proof of the pudding. We're getting real about what it takes for us to make these. And then lastly, the deadline for preparation. When do you need to have the snacks prepared by so that they are ready and available for you? Well, if you say you need to have the snacks ready for by 12 o'clock, but you leave work at 9 a.m. and don't come home till 9 p.m. at night, how in the heck can you meet that deadline if you're not even at home to prepare them? Or if you're like me, who rolls out of bed at the last minute, knowing I went to bed late, starting class at 8:30, and I did not make any effort to prep my breakfast the night before, I missed breakfast. That bad is on me. So my deadline for my breakfast preparation, if I was being smart, would have been last night to have everything prepped, lined up, ready to go. Let's say by 10 p.m. or 1 a.m. whenever I go to sleep. All right. So starting to manage our time and make things realistic as to how we can execute them. Because what are we doing? We're building habits for success. Cherry, was that the stuff that you were inquiring about?
Yeah, I just have another question that goes with that part too. Are we doing that for each snack row and explaining our steps? Does that make sense?
Mhm. And the answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it might be that that's why I said is that you have the option that if you, for some reasons, have a vision of how you think this could be constructed differently, go for it. I might learn from you. Probably will. But it might be that you say that, you know what, my step is that, you know, now remember the snacks need to be unique. So you can't have the steps be, you know, you cut up the carrots and then the carrots are for stack number 2, number 4, and number 5. That's really cheating. And that's a no-go. But if you're going to say step 1, I'm going to rinse off and trim and cut my carrots for day 1, my celery for day 2, you could be doing it all at once and you can group it. You could, like the other night, we had crudité, we had raw vegetables with dinner. And so I cut up all the vegetables at once for dinner, but that also became the preparation for my snacks for this week. They were ready to go. So that would be an action item that you are doing it all at once. And then I had to build in, though I was doing more, so the time actually was longer because I was doing more at once, but it skips the step, you know, for that snack. And then maybe for my celery, all I have to do is add the peanut butter. Just
Okay.
open the jar.
And then just one last question. Would you recommend if like protein bars would be a part of a protein snack?
No.
Okay.
Cheating. Yeah, great question. And anything that is processed or prepared, I mean, if you're saying that you want to opt for those little petite mini carrots pre-washed at the grocery store, then okay, fine. Your action item is go buy them. I'm just going to give you a heads up about those mini carrots. I'm not a fan of them, and I'm going to tell you why, and then you decide what's best for you. Those are trimmed down carrots. That's the inside of the carrot, not the full carrot. And part of that problem is when they do that, you know, they're stripping the skin off because the skin can oxidize when it gets cut and it's not as attractive looking. They're also trimming those down so that they become uniform size. But the problem is that most plant foods on this planet Earth, the majority of the nutrition is in the skin, not the inside. So when you skin a carrot, you're actually eliminating a lot of the nutrients. Dang it. So problem number 2 with those is that now they're eliminating some of the nutrition. They're whittling it down to these little uniform shapes. And then to keep them from oxidizing, they tend to dip them into sometimes like a bleach solution. Yay. So I would rather you just go out and grab a dirty old carrot out of the soil and eat the dirt. But you go with what's best for you. But yeah, I want you guys to focus on whole foods because really the nutritional value is whole foods. What I was kind of mentioning earlier is that whole foods have those special nutrients in them that allow us to thrive. Whereas when we buy processed food, it's really fixated more on the macronutrients, the protein, fat, and carbohydrate, and then they'll throw synthetic vitamins in there. Now, I'm not saying synthetic vitamins are bad for us, not the case. But once it's processed, any living value to it, like the antioxidants in foods, it's dead and it's gone. There is no synergistic fiber in these items. So they provide satiety. They give us, they quell our hunger. They allow us to survive. Do you guys get that? I can survive off of bars, no problem. But I can tell you, I know the difference between a person who takes supplements and a person who gets their food from whole foods. You can see it in their disposition, in their skin quality, their eye quality. It's interesting because it's that additional nutritional component of living food that we're finding really affects human health and quality of life. And so hence we say you're going to thrive or you're going to survive. So girlfriend, I'm going for the thrive stuff, okay? Number 3, what are your resources in achieving these goals? What do you need? Do you need knives, cutting board, money, access to grocery stores, a car to get there, a bus to get there? What are your resources that you need to be successful? And why are we looking? Because we're trying to figure out what are the obstacles that might get in the way. What is it that we are saying I can't build snacks for? What is the challenge here? Because I don't believe in no, I believe in what are the alternatives. This goes back to what Daniel, I'm not picking on you. You just made a great point. This goes back to what Daniel said earlier, is that without the gyms, without all that construct, we can either stop in our tracks and give up working out, or we look for a solution. We think outside of the box. We stay in motion. And that's what I'm looking for, right? Is for us to be so powerful and independent that we do not need to rely on any one thing. We are bigger and better and beyond that. That is optimization of human health, where you know how to care for yourselves in ways above and beyond what our society conveys to us. Because we are being trained by society to be very dependent. We're little addicts. And I want us to really get how powerful we are above and beyond that. Okay, and then what will you do to overcome these obstacles? So I love it. My Chapman students, they're all cute and charming, and they always give me this drama about, oh, I don't have a car at college. Oh, I can't get groceries. I don't have a refrigerator. I don't have this. I don't have that. And I don't take the I don't haves. Talk to me about what you have. So you don't have a car to get to the grocery store. Got it. Do you have a bus? Well, I don't do the bus. Okay, fine. Do you have 2 feet? Walk. It's less than a mile. Seriously. Okay. I don't know about you guys. I lived in Boston for 15 years. I needed my groceries. Friggin', I had to take the T and then I had to walk, and then I'm carrying these giant heavy things. We are phenomenal. How could human beings have survived on this planet Earth all this time if we did not figure out how to do things on our own? Oh, I love the obstacles people create. All right. So now I want you, of course, as always, that final review is to, I want you to talk about what you perceive to be the benefits of consuming the snacks during the day. I recommend that when you do that, you speak from experience. Have some snacks during the day and then talk about what difference did it make for you? What do you perceive are the differences? If you're really listening to your body and plugging in, you will actually realize it does create a world of difference for you. And I could give you a list a mile long, but I'm going to let you have the opportunity to explore that first. And then at the end of every assignment, review it, evaluate it. Does it have any value in your life? You guys, I am not going to grade you if you say no. If you say, number 1, it has no value in your life, I'm not going to grade that. I'm not going to judge it. I just want your honesty, because this is your self-reflection for you. Okay? And like I said, we're all in different places at different times in our lives. So, you know, it may be that nutrition's just not your thing right now. Okay, fine. But I want you to be mindfully making that decision I want you to be honest with yourself. Okay. And then that's it. Okay. So here is the My Plate representation. All right. And I really, this one, tattoo in your brain, folks, because this is really the foundation. You know, I don't know if any of you have experience with the My Pyramid, because this one's been around now for, oh gosh, how long has it been? It might be 9 years now. This has been around, 8 years, somewhere in there. Used to be the My Pyramid. If your school still taught that old habit, that thing was criminal. I mean, who in the heck eats their way to the top of a pyramid to get to the ice cream? Really? No. Go to the grocery store and buy the darn ice cream. Forget the pyramid. So I want you to just keep reflecting on this. And that's why one of the things that I recommended, my friends, is that in the modules, let's see, tools for your success. Let's see, nutrition, monitoring and planning tools. One of the tools for your success is that if you're trying to get comfortable and familiar with the My Plate, I have the app here, which is really darn awesome. And I have it on my phone. I just think it's great. I have fun with it. And in the app, it literally just goes through the whole steps about identifying what your goals are for the fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy, what meals you're going to include them in. And then you just, each time you have it, you click it and it helps you stay present to building your plate. That's like I said, I don't count calories. I don't advocate counting calories. MyFitnessPal, that's up to you. You can do all you want. But the reality is, I will promise you that if you follow the My Plate balance, you will access the nutrients you need for your body. And then you don't have to fret about, ooh, what percentage of carbohydrate am I in? Where am I at with my protein? No, I can build that in a heartbeat. Just the same as I can evaluate your diet and tell you you're either in target with your carbohydrate, fat, and protein, or you're not, just off of you reporting to me your food. If it's an accurate report. It'll take 3 conversations to get there. All right, so we have things to support us. All right, you the option of the My Plate, MyFitnessPal is free if you choose to do an app. We have the intuitive eating to check in with ourselves as to emotionally where we're at. Just a heads up, sometimes when you come across the intuitive eating scale, what time are we supposed to finish at? Excuse me a moment. Okay, I have class at 4 o'clock. I gotta stay present to that. I will wrap this up in a couple minutes. Sometimes you'll come across intuitive eating scales, you guys, just a heads up, please. And they might be arranged slightly differently. Some of them say 5 is the I'm not hungry zone, but I don't subscribe to that. And the reason is that's like you balancing precariously on one leg. There's always transition, there's bleed out, there's flow from one to the next. So that's why I put 5 and 6 in the middle, and then you've got the 4 ratings on the other side. Oftentimes intuitive eating scales do not acknowledge that. They say number 1 is super hungry. That's bogus. Number 1 is when you are starving, you are so darn hungry that you have no problem diving into that dumpster and eating whatever's there. When you are so hungry, you have no problem eating the dead soccer players next to you up in the Andes in the middle of a snowstorm. You do what you have to do to survive. And no one can ever tell me, oh, well, that's not on the intuitive eating scale. Yeah, it is. That intuition is called survival. So that's why the one I have takes into perspective the whole human experience. And we have the potential to hit all 10 of those. So I'm not going to soft shoe this and make it cute and dainty. No, it's real. All right. So you want to start connecting with where you at in terms of how you feel with food. Are you identifying food and starting to think about it? That's the initial sensation of hunger. When your body's kicking in where you're like, I'm hungry, let's eat now. That's definitely your blood sugars come all the way down. You're starting to bottom out. Some people get very hormonally imbalanced and emotional. That's when they become a 2 and they are hangry. My daughter, just saying. On the other hand, when you start eating, there's this phrase in Japanese called hara hachibu. And that is that when you start eating, the moment where you no longer have the sensation of hunger, that's when you've hit hara hachibu, and you decide you stop there and you'll probably be hungry in a few hours, couple hours, or you go a little bit further, but somewhere in that range of I want more. Do I stop here? I still feel okay. I'm not in pain. You've given your body the calories it needs to process at the time. Like a glass, you're not overfilling it and flowing into fat storage. You're giving your body what you need. When we eat to the point where we're uncomfortable, we have exceeded capacity, folks, and that's when our body will be triggered. It will know hormonally you're going into fat storage mode. So that's why I encourage people to have these soft little rolls. You eat, you digest, you have a snack, you digest it. You eat, you digest, you have a snack, you digest. The smaller portions enable us to process and use the nutrients as we go along rather than diverting to storage. No deficit, no excess, okay? We briefly talked about mindful eating, knowing what you're eating, where you're eating, how you're eating. There is a really cool little activity here called the mindful chocolate meditation. If you're one of those people who eats really quickly or often forgets what you ate, you want to start thinking about connecting. And this meditation developed by a therapist is really kind of cool. It's really about being with your food so that you taste it, you smell it, you see it, you acknowledge it. You have gratitude for what you're eating and what you're giving your body. And that is oftentimes the disconnect, is we're eating things thinking it will eliminate our hunger, but we're not eating them to be present to them. Food should be a powerful and enjoyable experience. It's connecting with our bodies because it is nourishing our bodies. And if we're going through the motions, then you've got to start to ask yourself, what are you really eating and why are you eating it? Because you're not eating it for your health and well-being. You're going through emotion. You're just shoveling. Human disposal. All right. That's where I want to stop, folks, is to make sure that you have some understanding and relationship with the material and the assignments that are at hand. So your question is to kind of go back again to the reflection. What would you reflect on for the Zoom discussion today? What I encourage you to do is look at this material if you're unsure on it, maybe watch some of the videos and then respond to that. You know, maybe there's something in here where you're just like, intuitive eating, what the heck? And that's what you're going to start to reflect on, is I just want you to start interacting with the material and discussing that with me. All right. Okay, golden rule. Today is Thursday. That means that if you guys have any thoughts or questions, do not be shy. You are always invited to text me. You are always invited to send me a Canvas message. Just know that the Cal State Fullerton email is a black hole. And unless you throw me a lifeline to find me, otherwise known as a text message to tell me it's there, I may disappear into that black hole and I don't know when I will come out again. So how are you going to communicate with me?
Text message.
Thank you. Text. And what is number 2?
If we
Canvas.
email you, text you that we emailed you.
Canvas message first, or if you use the Cal State Fullerton, then text me, it's there. But even then, God, what a horror show. I really rather not go there if I don't have to. Besides, I like doing things like missing my training for Cal State Fullerton and getting yelled at and realizing it months later and going, oh my God, am I still employed? All right, folks. So like I said, I'm available anytime if you have questions or get stuck. That's absolutely great. And otherwise, start that journey. Start getting present to what's going on with your food. Okay. And I'm going to look forward to getting the first submissions on Monday. All right. Be awesome. Be amazing. Have an absolutely fantastic weekend. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. And like I said, what I recorded, oh God, as long as I turned on the recording, if I recorded it, I will be eventually posting it. All right. Okay, that's it. I'm leaving. I am leaving you because I'm going to set up for the next class. Unless you have a question, I'll stay for a minute. Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome, you guys. Be awesome. Yep. Bye. Em, did you have a question? Hello. Oh, it might be one of those awkward moments. All right, recording done.